Need sleepers in week 9. We have got you covered. Sam and I will each give you our 3 favorite sleepers for the week. Then we'll spend a few minutes answering your questions before we get to our flaming hot, bold predictions at the end of the show.
Sponsored by Cheetos.
Still wait for that check. Sam, let's kick it off with you. Who is your first sleeper for week 9?
My first sleeper, I didn't even decide what order to do these in. This is just very exciting for me. Usually I start with somebody that's kind of blah and move up to something that's super, super deep. But I feel like these are all pretty deep, as is our custom.
Yeah.
So let's go with, I can't even read my chicken scratch. Let's go with an easy one. I always save the tight ends for last. Let's just kick it. Let's just go right for it. My tight end this week, of which I am known for choosing tight ends.
Yeah, okay.
Is Colston Loveland from Chicago. I just checked the injury report, and Komet is off of the injury report, so he's going to play. However, number one, Komet is he's the better blocker of the two, and Loveland is the better receiver. Additionally, already prior to Komet's injury, he was prior to his injury, Loveland already was, they were splitting snaps. It got more and more and more. And actually before the injury, in week 7, Loveland outsnapped him, and week 6 as well. So that bodes well. I want to remind everybody, because people tend to forget, Colston Loveland went in the draft before Tyler Warren. He was drafted 10th overall to Warren's 14th. And I think the thinking in the dynasty community was that he was the better prospect, but if you needed points now, go for Warren. If you need him to jump off the bat. And Loveland is he's really, really good in the field. On top of that, there's no Luther Burden. I know that doesn't really affect it too much, but all of the receivers for Chicago are banged up. Odunze has a heel. Olamide Zachariason has a has a knee injury. DJ Moore's nursing a groin. They're all going to play. But that is to say that they are banged up, and any one of them could suffer an injury that'll put them out for the game. And, one of the biggest problems with Chicago is people always say, what do they always say, Alex? There's too many what?
Too many mouths to feed.
Too many mouths to feed. Well, Burden being out helps that. The fact that Orenthal Zachariason, the third isn't very good also helps. But Loveland sort of disappointed last week. I think a lot of people leaned on him. This is the week. If we've said it once, we've said it a million times. If you've got a tight end going against Cincinnati, play the tight end. You pretty much gotta. I mean, Cincinnati is still leading the next closest team by 30 points in fantasy overall. So, I mean, divide that by the week. I'll let you do the math. But yeah, I love Loveland in general. I love him this week, even though he's going against my team. I am starting him with confidence all over the place.
Yeah, only the Dolphins have allowed more receiving yards to tight ends this year, and they have an extra game because they've already played in week 9, and the Bengals have allowed 10 touchdowns this year to the tight end position. And Colston Loveland has a red zone target in each of the last 3 weeks. So he's interesting.
And we just saw Mason Taylor finally get into the end zone last week against who?
The Bengals. And this game has, a very high point total this week, 51.5. There's going to be passing. There's going to be points scored in this game. And when you get to these types of shootouts, there's always somebody new who pops up for a random touchdown or a big play or even a big game overall. And maybe that is going to be Colston Loveland this week. And while we're talking about sleepers on the Bears, why don't we just throw out the name? We're not going to dive into him, but just throw out the name Kyle Monangai. He is playing and starting in place of the injured DeAndre Swift this week. Really great matchup for him as well. He's looked good. Kyle Monangai was not a guy that I loved, coming into the NFL draft process and everything this year. He's not a super athlete, but he runs hard. He runs physical. He's a tough runner. He doesn't go down easily. He's got some Isiah Pacheco to his game in that sense. So he's going to get the start. He's going to get the bulk of the carries, the workload in that offense. No Roschon Johnson.
No Roschon, and they just promoted or had hanging around. Who was it, Travis Homer?
Yeah.
So and Monongahela gets pass catching duties and rushing duties. So he's that Swift kind of player, but younger and probably a little bit more powerful. So yeah, the only reason he is not one of our sleepers is because he's just over the edge. I think he's at about 55% rostered right now. I would imagine by game time tomorrow, it's going to be more like 75%.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you should check your waiver wire and see if he's there.
All right, I'm going to move on to my first sleeper this week, and I like the Seahawks offense this week against the Commanders. And even though they are last in the NFL in pass plays per game, I don't know if I'm frozen or if you're frozen.
I think that was
last
you.
in the NFL in pass plays per game. I think it was me too. So yeah, they're last in the NFL in pass plays per game, but I particularly like their passing game pieces this week against this Washington secondary. And with Cooper Kupp popping up on the injury report this week, he had a full participation on Wednesday, but then he suffered a hamstring injury on Thursday. He missed Friday's practice. Now he is questionable going into Sunday night. If he misses this game, I am looking at rookie wide receiver, Torrey Horton to step up. Torrey Horton flashed a little bit earlier this season. He had a receiving touchdown in 3 of 4 weeks between weeks 2 through 5.
Yeah, he flashed right before I started him. So, but I've stopped starting him, so you guys should be good now.
So he's safe now. We can do it. He even took a punt back for a touchdown in week 3 against the Saints. So we know he's an electric playmaker with a knack for the end zone. And if we look at the Seahawks depth chart, they're going to have no choice but to lean on Torrey Horton if Cooper Kupp does sit in this game. That's why I also like tight end A.J. Barner this week as well. Barner is on the field. He's been on the field for more than 85% of the snaps just about every single week. He's already had tight end finishes this year of tight end 9, 8, tight end 1 overall, and even tight end 17.
A.J. Barner loves the end zone.
Exactly. I bet he's back in the top 12 again in week 9. Both of these guys should benefit from a Commanders defense that has allowed the 4th most passing yards, the 4th most passing touchdowns this season, and particularly for Torrey Horton, they've allowed the 10th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers. And for Barner, the Commanders allowed the 5th most touchdowns to tight ends and the 6th most fantasy points per game to the position. So start these guys this week if you need a fill-in. Barner is rostered just 10% of leagues. Horton is rostered in 3% of leagues. And if you haven't figured it out by now, if you need a streaming quarterback this week, you could do a lot worse than Sam Darnold, who is still available in more than 50% of Yahoo leagues. How do you like that? Not a 2-for-1, I got a 3-for-1.
Yeah, just if you have Seahawks, start them. Clearly. No, but I like it. I like all those calls. I'm a big Barner fan. I've had him on several rosters throughout the season just as a plug and play, because the boom far outweighs the bust. You know, if you're going to bust anyway with somebody, you could do a lot worse than putting in a guy that just has a nose for the end zone. And even when they try to get Arroyo more involved because his snap share is climbing, he doesn't get those red zone targets. They all belong to A.J. Barner. So I'm a big fan of that. And Torrey Horton is one that he's a guy that I like, and I like him coming out of college.
Yep.
So I'm actually personally excited to see. I don't have hardly any shares of him, even in Dynasty, but I'm excited to see him have a breakout.
Yeah, me too. I really liked him a lot coming out of Colorado State this year as a day 3 pick. So it's been fun it was fun earlier in the season, and even in the preseason, he made some plays as well. I hope he gets a real shot this week to play a significant role in this offense, and I think he will if Cooper Kupp is out. All right, who you got?
Oh, number 2, who we going with? First of all, let me say to the people in the chat, first of all, thank you for being here. Second of all, we will get to your questions, or at least some of them, at the end of the show. But a reminder that we always appear on this same channel tomorrow at 12:15, where we answer everyone. I mean, every single start and sit, we take it right up to 1 o'clock. So I'm going to go... I guess I'm going to, we just talked about Kyle Monongahela, mesothelioma, whatever his name is, quite a bit. If you can't tell, Alex has already heard that joke about 10 times and seen it in text form. Numerous.
Well, at first, I wasn't sure what you were trying to say in text. And I was like, is he doing this on purpose?
Monogathelioma. I will. I'll go right back to the running back well, and another one who is pretty decently rostered, and that is Tyjae Spears. He's still 44% available. I think there's still a lot of people that think Pollard is the guy there. The only part that gives me pause is that he's been discussed, Pollard has been discussed in trade talks, and we've seen teams try to showcase their trade item. I think it's the opposite here, though. I don't think they want people to see that Pollard just isn't good. So, so I'm not really worried about that. But let me tell you about Ty J. This is his third season in the league. His first season, he had 453 rush yards and 70 targets. That was with Derrick Henry. Not only that, I think a lot of people are under the misconception that he's a smaller back. He's not. He's 5'11", pushing 200. And I mention that because Spears has a devastating stiff arm. I mean, it's gross. It's really, really bad. And just can shove people down as he goes by. And since he's come back from injury in the last couple of weeks, just immediately saw his snap share increase versus Pollard's decreasing. In the last 3 games, he had 5 rushes, 9 rushes. He also had 4 targets, 3 and 3. Last week, he had 12 touches for 82 total yards and a touchdown. If you're just plugging that into your lineup, I mean, that's pretty good. So I've always been a Spears fan anyway, but I also, consequently have a lot of shares of him, and I was waiting for him to come back as a just in case when some of these other running backs got hurt. And I really love his position this week, even against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy that they want to throw the ball to out of that backfield, which is what is going to produce more fantasy points for us. And they're always in negative game script. They're always playing from behind. It's going to be the same case again this week against the Chargers. And you mentioned, as soon as Tyjae Spears came back, his snaps, I mean, he had the first game. The first game was, had a little slow ramp up. After that, after he got his feet wet a little bit, it was full back to, what, his usual role had been in that offense. And I think they want to keep increasing it because, like you said, Tony Pollard has been terrible. If you look at Tony Pollard's snap shares in the first, 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season before Spears came back, every week it was 80, 89%, 91%, 75%. It hasn't been above like 55, 57%. And that was the peak for Tony Pollard since Tyjae Spears has come back. And Spears has out-snapped him in 2 of 3 games since his return.
Yeah,
so.
and I think people tend to forget also that Pollard was the one who was late to the party. He was brought in to support Tyjae Spears, not the other way around. So for all intents and purposes, you have somebody who a team planned on being their starter prior to the season, who is out there on the waivers at 44% rostered. So, I mean, I'm not a Titans fan at all of rostering their players, but getting a pass catching back is that's a bonus.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I mean, the Titans coaches talked all offseason about wanting to get Tyjae Spears more involved in that offense, and then he gets hurt before the start of the season. So,
I mean, Tyjae, he made Derrick Henry originally expendable because if you recall, Henry had a really bad season that year. There were a couple games where his efficiency was below 2 yards a carry. And all of a sudden, everybody was like, well, who's this guy? here, looking at Tyjae Spears. And yeah, I mean, so again, this is somebody who should have been an incumbent starter coming in, who's available on waiver wires. I mean, I hesitate to use the term league winner, but it could happen even for a bad team.
I wouldn't go to that line, but it could happen. Could happen. I am starting him. I will say I am starting him in one league this week, with quite a bit of confidence. So we'll see how it goes.
I've got him in 3 this week, I think.
All right, I got another running back for you, and this is actually somebody
we never have this many running backs. This is fun.
Yeah, we actually talked about this guy last week. You talked about this guy, but as we all know, if anybody who watches this show routinely, Sam is never wrong, but he's always early.
That's true.
So we're leaning into that a little bit this week. He's always 1 week ahead, and we're going to go with Brashard Smith because this is going to be the week where Brashard Smith has a big game.
Love it.
With Isiah Pacheco out, we're likely going to see an increased role in that Kansas City offense. Now, I will say Kareem Hunt is going to be the primary running back, especially like on early downs, the goal line. Kareem Hunt's going to get that ramp up for sure. But the Chiefs had already been talking about wanting to expand Brashard Smith's role even before the Isiah Pacheco injury. So now's the chance for them to finally do so. I mean, Brashard Smith, he's an explosive athlete, 4.3 speed. He's a playmaker. He's a former wide receiver, which makes an expanded role for him especially intriguing because of his versatility, his athleticism. I mean, his explosiveness, his ability to catch passes, that means he can provide more value on less touches than a guy like Kareem Hunt. And he's given us just a little bit of a taste of that explosiveness, of that playmaking ability this year. He had a 4-week stretch from weeks 4 through 7 where he was targeted 16 times. That included week 6 when he actually had 81 total yards, caught all 5 of his targets, and he was the RB14 on the week. We've seen it happen. We've seen him do this already one time earlier this year in an expanded role. Now he should see a pretty decent bump in playing time in what very likely will be a shootout with the Bills. In a game with the Bills, what better time to take, to finally unleash your rookie playmaking running back? It's time to do it. I think they're going to do it. And it can't hurt either that the Bills, they've allowed the 5th most rushing yards per game and the 6th most fantasy points per game to the running back position this season. So, with guys like Saquon Barkley, Breece Hall, Quinshon Judkins on bye this week, we got all the running back injuries, Cam Scatteraboo, DeAndre Swift, and so forth. You could turn to a guy like Brashard Smith. If you missed the rush to the waiver wire for a Kyle Monangai, for example, or a Tyrone Tracy, you could pick up a guy like Brashard Smith if you want some upside. He's still only rostered in 16% of Yahoo leagues.
16%.
Pick him up. Pick him up.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I think there's going to be quite a few detractors that'll say, well, yeah, but Brashard's not going to get carries near the goal line. That's still going to go to Kareem Hunt. What you're missing is that if his snap share increases in this game, he can score from anywhere. He doesn't need to be at the goal line. And Elijah Mitchell, I don't think is going to slice into his carries.
I don't think so.
If they can even get him out of his wheelchair. But yeah, I love this call. I loved it last week. I love it even more this week. I think you hit the nail on the head. I'll move us to another pass catcher since I already used up my tight end. But this is probably my favorite pickup of the week. And that is Parker Washington from Jacksonville. And this runs deep. I don't think this show is long enough for me to describe why I think he's going to hit. First of all, we all know Travis Hunter is gone. Parker Washington is going to get all the slot shares. He's going to get all the passes he can handle. I'm expecting over 10 targets. He's performed when he was called upon last year a couple times when players were injured. He stepped up into a good role, even if it didn't translate to overall unbelievable stats for the season. He did start 2 games last year. I think he's already started 1 this year when they decided Hunter wasn't going to start yet. But he's already got 2 games with 10 plus targets this season, and that's with everybody on the field. He's got 270 yards and a touchdown. He's also got 4 rushes on the year, so he adds that extra possibility. Not that you're going to see James Worthy out there or anything, but versus the Rams last week, he had 60% of the snap. Hunter had 60% of the snaps. Now these are vacated. You know what I mean? And because they finally bumped him up a little bit last week. And what did he do? 67% of the snaps, 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. That's the type of production Parker Washington could be walking into, because he's not coming off the field and going to play defense. So they're not going to manage his snaps at all. On top of that, we all know Brenton Strange is on the IR. Hunter Long has proven to not be the guy. He's averaging like 2 catches a game for like the last 3. And we all know Trevor Lawrence loves the middle of the field. I mean, that's where Evan Ingram made his bones, you know what I mean? And why Strange was already looking like a really, really good candidate. So Lawrence loves those short routes. He loves the crossers. That's why he has problems with Brian Thomas Jr. Is because he likes to dink and dunk. And if he does that this week, man, Parker Washington is going to eat. I mean, eat. And I think people are starting to take notice because he's already projected up to about 10 points on most platforms in PPR leagues. This guy is only 11% rostered. You could do so much worse than plugging him in the flex and potentially getting a boom out of the deal. So I like his floor. I love the ceiling even more. I don't even know if it's there.
Yeah. Before you told me that you were going to take Parker Washington, I was going to take Parker Washington. So I am fully on board with this call. And like you mentioned, he's been in a limited role this year because they have some other starters ahead of him. But when he has had an expanded role, he's, gotten more looks. He's gotten, a lot of opportunities. You mentioned he had 2 games where he's had double-digit targets already. So he's had 3 games where he's been over 35% route participation. 2 of those 3, he had double-digit targets. And he's actually top 25 among wide receivers. He's top 25 among wide receivers in targets per route run. So when he's out there, like you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence is looking his way quite often, and he's going to be out there.
Yeah, I want to throw one last little nugget that I just kind of noticed when I was looking over Parker's stats, and I think there's a reason to mention this. Um, Parker Washington averages 14.3 yards on punt returns.
Mm.
I don't know how long you've been watching football, but getting 14 yards on one punt return in a game is pretty great. But to average 14 yards on punt returns means you see the field, you see traffic, you know where you're going, and I think that's worth mentioning, that he can navigate through traffic and probably run away from some people.
Well, I mean, teams don't put guys, just anybody out there to return punts. They put playmakers out there to return punts.
And
And
still, getting 14 yards is a rarity.
and if I remember correctly, he does have a punt return touchdown this year, so we know he can make some big plays with the ball in his hands. Also, a guy who can make some big plays down the field, Alec Pierce is
Ooh.
my next sleeper. So Alec Pierce, he has scored more than 10 fantasy points in 3 of 6 games this season. He continues to be used as a downfield threat. He ranks top 5 among NFL wide receivers in air yard share, deep target share, average depth of target, yards per route, and yards per target. And this year, more than previous seasons, Alec Pierce is actually seeing some decent target volume. He's on pace for a career high 90 targets. He's combined for 15 targets over the last 2 weeks with target shares of 30% and 17% in those 2 games. And now he gets the Steelers defense that has allowed the most receptions per game and the most receiving yards per game to wide receivers this season, plus the 8th most fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position as well. This game has a 51-point total, so Vegas expects a shootout. I expect a shootout. That is the perfect game environment for a couple of long balls and a big game for Alec Pierce. He's rostered in just 26% of Yahoo leagues. So pick up Alec Pierce if you need a wide receiver or a flex starter with a little bit of upside.
I'll piggyback on that one time and say that Alec Pierce, I never expected to be just a primary downfield threat. But if Anthony Richardson can hit him from 50 yards away, then I'm pretty sure Daniel Jones can too.
Yeah, Daniel Jones has shocked the world this year. He's an MVP candidate.
I love it. I got him for a 3rd in Dynasty.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm speaking to Colts quarterback trades in Dynasty. I traded away in the preseason. I traded away Anthony Richardson, and I got a high 2nd-round pick for him.
Nice.
So I cashed out.
Nice.
Cashed out the last second. I won't mention, the deals that I turned down for him last year, where I could have gotten, Drake May or something, but whatever. All right. Before we get to our bold predictions.
Drake May. Who's that?
Who's that? Just some guy. I don't know. Before we get to our bold predictions, we do always like to get through and answer some of your questions from the chat. I know we have a few, but I also like to mention that if we do miss any of your questions, we don't get to your questions because we just don't have time to get them all tonight. We do have a start-sit show tomorrow. Sunday, we go about 12:15 all the way up to kickoff, answering your start-sit questions and only answering your start-sit questions. And get them all.
We answer every question in the chat every Sunday.
All right, but let's get to KJ. KJ was in here before we were even in here. He's got a question for us. Better flex start, Brian Thomas Jr., Jacoby Myers, or Zach Charbonnet in a full PPR format?
Well, I can say that I am not ready for Jacoby Myers yet, even though I do like the matchup. And having Bowers back should help him. Um, I just I don't know how you can sit BTJ. I do think this is the week that Charbonnet really takes control of that backfield, but I'm not sure what exactly that extent is. And I don't want to just rely on him making it into the end zone. So without Hunter on the field, I'll go with BTJ.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. against the Raiders. No Travis Hunter. I'll do that as well. All right, let's get this one from Dustin. Dustin is asking, what up, fellas? Green Bay or Jaguars defense this week?
Green Bay.
And then Woody Marks or DJ? I don't know who DJ is.
DJ Moore?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's assume it's DJ Moore. It's the DJ I can think of.
I think I gotta go. I have to opt for the running back in this situation. DJ's still nursing that groin injury. Yeah, I'll go Woody Marks. Final answer.
Okay. I dropped Christian Watson.
Wait a minute. I take that back. I have benched Woody Marks in all of my leagues because he is playing Denver, and I don't like that one bit. So
and DJ Moore has a fantastic matchup against who?
Somebody terrible.
Yeah, somebody terrible. Somebody you're a fan of.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, DJ Moore.
Clutch game 09. I dropped Christian Watson on the chance that Isaiah Davis takes over the Jets backfield. I'm starting Travion Henderson and Tyrone Tracy in 2 flex league. Okay.
Congratulations.
There's no question here.
Is there a question?
There's no question. All right, let's get to Steven. Good evening. We need help picking my second running back spot and second flex spot in a full PPR matchup this week, deciding between Bam Knight, Rico Dowdle, Jordan Addison, Kenneth Walker, DJ Moore, Romeo Dobbs. So we need a running back spot and we need a flex spot, full PPR between these players.
The running back is Dowdle easily.
Yep.
They've already gone on record and said that he's likely to get more touches this week. R.I.P. Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And then for flex, man, I don't know why I like Kenneth Walker so much this week, but I have.
It's a nice matchup. Play your Seahawks.
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, this time I'll go with what I said last time. I'll opt for the running back of Walker over Moore or Dobbs.
Okay. Yeah, I like it.
But it's, in my opinion, close with Addison.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Galaxy pickers. Do we go Ja'Cory Crosby Merritt or RJ Harvey this week? We need the highest upside.
RJ Harvey.
No, we got some questions similar to this last week where people were asking if they should play RJ Harvey. Oh, not only that, we had RJ Harvey as one of our sleepers last week, and he goes off and scores 3 touchdowns.
Oh, whoops.
Oops.
It's almost like we're good at this.
Yes, highest upside is Harvey. More likely a higher floor play would be
Maybe.
Jackson Smith and Jigba. Not Jackson Smith and Jigba. Too many three-letter J names.
Oh, if JSN's in there, I'm taking him.
JCM would be the safer floor play. Harvey is definitely the highest upside, I think. Aldo is asking, start one running back and one flex half PPR, and my quarterback is Flacco for the week. Do I go Trevion, Deebo Samuel, Chase Brown? We need one running back and one flex and half PPR. I think we got to roll with Chase Brown, our running back.
Rule him out?
No, we go with Chase Brown.
What did you say?
Start Chase Brown.
Oh, yeah. We go with Chase Brown. He's guaranteed the touches out of all of these people.
Do we take the chance with Trevion with no Ramondre, but then Deebo has no Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, I think Trevion could have a game this week. Finally, we joke about it all the time, but I do believe that. However, in a game where I think Washington is going to be playing catch up and there's no McLaurin on the field, I'll go with Deebo.
Okay, I'm going to go Trevion. Trevion and Chase Brown.
Well, of course you are. He's a Patriots fan.
Jeffrey Gross is telling us I have Parker Washington, Chimere Dike, and Zach Ertz on my bench. I have Woody Marks and Shakir in my flex right now. Would you guys swap anyone in for what I have currently?
I'd play Walker over Marks.
Washington? Is that what you mean? I play Washington over Marks?
Yeah, Parker Washington.
I think you called him Walker.
No, Parker. Parker.
All right. Chucks is asking Rome, Adunze, or Tyron Tracy?
Odunze. Who are the Giants playing?
This Giants are playing what? The 49ers. Why did I blank on that?
Oh, wow. That's actually a really good one.
It's Rome. Rome is the answer.
Is it?
It's gonna be.
Rome Odunze against Cincinnati. If you got Bears, start them.
Thank you. Michael is asking Trey Tucker, Alec Pierce, Parker Washington, full PPR.
Oh, so he's pitting us against one another. I see what you're doing there, Michael.
I think Parker Washington.
I don't know who Trey Tucker is, but you know what I'm gonna say, Michael? It's Parker Washington for me.
I agree.
Especially in full PPR.
This is my fear from Chris.
This is your what? Oh,
this is my fear.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris? Is it gonna be Jennings or is it gonna be Ernest Johnson?
No. Let's get Chris's question. Kincaid or Colston Loveland?
I think, man, I'm really tempted to say Loveland here. Bills get the Chiefs?
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna go Loveland against that terrible tight end defense. No?
No.
Why?
We're going to get a shootout with the Chiefs, and you want to sit Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah.
Don't do it, Chris.
We're going to get a shootout with the Bears, and I'm not sitting Loveland.
Yeah, but I mean, you even said Cole Kmet's back.
I don't care.
All right. All right.
He was already leading Kmet in snaps. They did not draft him 10th overall for no reason.
Cole Kmet was out last week, and what did we get from Colston Loveland?
Why are you arguing with me now? You were all agreeing with me when I brought him up earlier.
I was agreeing, as in, like a tight end 18 type of sleeper play, but not over Dalton Kincaid.
No, it's Loveland.
Okay. All right. Well,
ignore the predictions on whatever platform you're on and play Loveland.
I want Chris to come back, let us know who he went with and how it turned out. We'll know how it turned out.
Well, you already know this is basically a starter sit question. And you know how that usually goes for you.
I do. But I feel good about this one. Is Dalton Kincaid.
It's Loveland.
All right. Well, we need the chat to kind of break the tie here. Let us know who you would play. Dalton Kincaid, Colston Loveland. That's a question of the night. But anybody whose questions we didn't get to, we do a start sit show tomorrow about 12:15. We go all the way up to kickoff, and all we do is answer your start sit questions. So we are going to get to our bold predictions. Sam, what do you got for a bold prediction this week?
Don't shop Gibbs. I have to address that.
What do you got for a bold prediction?
Bold prediction. I don't know. I didn't come up with one. Right. My bold prediction is...
Your bold prediction is that Colston Loveland is going to outscore
Colston Loveland is going to finish in the top 5 tight ends this week, and Dalton Kincaid is going to finish outside of the top 10.
Ooh, all right. We'll see what happens. I think
Sponsored by Cheetos.
All right, my bold prediction this week, I'm looking at a guy in Tennessee. Nice, gross Tennessee Titan. He's a rookie. He's been kind of on the rise. He's a big play making wide receiver.
Ew, I don't like this already.
We're gonna get into a little bit of a
Shamir.
We're gonna get into some negative game script against the Chargers, and I think Shamir DK is gonna have 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in week 9 against the Chargers.